minutes to talk about the tragedy that took place in Minneapolis, Minnesota a week or so ago with the church shooting, and two children succumbed to their wounds, and there was at least 18 other people that were injured. What is going on with our society today, and where are we headed? Our children are our future. And it's ironic that in the beginning of this school year that just started maybe 2 weeks ago, there's been a few shootings, whether it's at college or university campuses or other places. Um, what is going on with all of this gun violence? As you all know, America is number one for the number of uh, licensed guns and or legal guns and not legal guns that are on the streets. We're number one for the number of guns that are on the streets, and we're number one for incarceration in the world, our country, America. And it makes you wonder, with the NRA and people in Missouri, where I'm coming from, you have a right to carry, and we have to figure out where are we going as a society. We are heading into the deep waters of inhumanity each and every day. And what is going on with our young people? This is probably the toughest time in my lifetime, to be a young person. There are so many distractions that are out there, whether it's technology, whether it's fatherless homes, the opioid crisis, helplessness, homelessness, mental health issues that are untreated and undiagnosed. And some of those parallels um, are talked about with this alleged shooter in Minneapolis. There are identity issues that were taking place with this young person, wanting to identify from being born a male as Robert, and then changing his name to Robin for the he/she pronouns. Is that a real issue? Where was that person's mental health status? We're in a time now with technology, nobody sits around and has dinner anymore as a family. The divorce rate is way too high. Too many fatherless homes. Does that have a measuring stick on us as a society? Our moral and ethical mantra is being dissipated each and every day. There's no unity. There's no family unity, let alone a community unity. So you got to have a family unity, community unity, and then a city and statewide unity, and then let alone our country. Um, there's other caveats to this situation too that are very interesting. In a lot of these school shootings, you see a certain machination of young white males. Um, and this situation in Minneapolis is very similar to what took place in Tennessee a year or two ago, with a young person, white, who was transitioning or identified with the opposite sex and went on a shooting rampage at a school. And what is this whole thing with this particular person wanting to harm children? That was specifically said that the Minneapolis school attacker obsessed with the idea of harming children. Well, that tells you that there was something going on and there was a displacement in that person's upbringing. What was his What was that person? I'm sorry to keep saying his, but what was that person's family dynamics? They have mentioned the alleged shooter's mother says she was a member of the church, but they have not mentioned anything about the father. So was the alleged shooter in Minneapolis a byproduct of divorce, or the parents never married? or is the dad deceased? What's going on there? But as we all know, it takes a village to raise our children, but it definitely takes two parents that have to be instrumental in the upbringing of our future. This is all about passing a positive baton from your elders to your youth. And young folks, this is a very, very, very tough time today. Kids don't want to go to school. The importance of education has been delineated in today's time. Everybody wants to be an entertainer or athlete based on the salaries and the incomes that you see these people are making. Nobody can stay focused. And there is a real harbinger that is weighing heavy on our ethical, moral, and our humane status for a civilized society. And we're being reminded each and every year with these kinds of heinous shootings. Guns don't kill, people do, but the availability of guns might be too easy. Should there be measuring sticks for tighter controls and tighter vetting for individuals to ascertain weapons? And do we need these high caliber semi-automatic weapons? I don't think we do. Allegedly, this individual had 30 rounds of ammunition, and what would be the purpose of that? So we have to reach a measuring stick on what is important. Is the civility of our civilized society important, and our public safety, or are we just going to go rogue like the old cowboys in Indian days? Oh, this person says, why are there more shootings with gun laws in stricter states? I don't know about that. Well, Texas, Missouri, open carry, Florida, you see a high level of shootings in those states. Illinois is not open carry, but you take Chicago, there are tons of homicides and shootings that take place each and every day. Over the Labor Day weekend in Chicago, there were like 50 people that got shot and like 8 died. So I don't know if stricter laws should be a measure, but I don't know what the answer is. That's why I'm doing this live, to get some feedback on what folks think. We should have weapons and guns to be able to protect our family and our property, but the utilization of these guns, especially for young folks, and you see two categories that are going on. You're seeing young white males that are in this chasm and this panacea of shootings in schools. But on the flip side, you see young black males that are killing each other. So you have young white males is the typical stereotype for these school shootings, but you see young black males that are shooting and killing each other each and every day. The number one form of homicide for young black males between the ages of 15 and 25 is gun violence. It's not heart disease, it's not diabetes, it's not cancer. It is gun violence. So you're talking about healthy individuals that are making the decision to go out and cause harm and destruction. And there's only two places that these individuals are going to end up, just like the Minneapolis shooter. It's either death or the penitentiary. And we as older folks, maybe we've done a poor job, but we need to be better mentors and steering our young youth today into education, trade school. Very few individuals are going to become famous as entertainers and as athletes, and putting all your eggs in one basket and not having an alternative is leaving these young people with admirations of helplessness and hopelessness. And where is that going to lead our future as technology is advancing at a superior fast rate? Human beings are not, these young folks are not sustaining that speed at the same level of technology. So you have artificial intelligence, we have humanoid robotics, so manufacturing and distribution is going to change in the future. Even at fast food places, you're having kids that can't even read um, the menu or know how to use the cash register. They got rid of cursive writing. We have gotten away from some of the foundational things that have led us to be a first-rate country, a first-rate leader in the world. In the urban market, we're having kids that are in the ninth grade reading on a fourth and fifth grade level. The math scores are at a fourth or fifth grade level. We are going to lose an entire generation of folks based on ignorance, not knowing, not having a backup plan. Mental health is a real issue today, is a superior real issue. The opioid crisis, and it does not help it whatsoever. Fatherless homes are not helping it whatsoever. And this kind of situation that took place in Minneapolis is going to continue to happen. So you had the loss of life and destruction on both levels. The shooter who committed the crime ended up committing suicide, and before he or she did that, uh, that person took the lives of at least two children that were in just the beginning stages of their life and development. And then look at the survivors, the PTSD. How are these individuals that were at that church ever going to recover from this? This is PTS, post-traumatic stress syndrome, at its finest. The survivors are going to need all of the psychological and psychiatric mental health components to help them figure this whole thing out. So the kids that were there is tough, and they're going to suffer from PTSD. And the parents of those children, just worrying about if your kid made it through that whole situation. I mean, that had to be the scariest situation on the planet. And as a parent, one of the number one things that we worry about is that we want to be able to allow our children to outlive us. And we've gotten to a place where that is not taking place. Many of these young folks today, black or white, it's not based on race, creed, color, or zip code. This can happen anywhere. So if you want to ignore that this kind of gun violence and this kind of crime only happens in this segmented area, you're wrong. There are random shootings. There was a shooting in Austin, Texas at a Target. There have been shootings and stabbings at Walmart. I mean, just you leaving your door and going out into the world, or traveling through your city or your state, public safety is at the brink of bankruptcy and fracturing as a whole. And we have to be fed up about it. We need more people like myself talking about this, changing the narrative on what life should be about. You can't accept the fruit if you don't get to the root. You can't accept the fruit if you don't get to the root. We cannot ignore the level of violence that's taking place throughout our entire country. America has changed. This is supposed to be the land of the free, and it's not. It's the land of looking over your back. And we have to make some real hard decisions on recalibrating our public school systems, recalibrating our faith and family and community. It takes a village. It takes a man and a woman, an uncle, a grandfather, an older brother, to help raise our young people today. And this is a very unfortunate situation. We don't need any kind of copycat scenarios taking place as a result of what happened in Minneapolis. And we need more and more people doing videos and screaming at the top of their lungs about public safety being a measuring stick and a benchmark for our freedoms and our liberties in America. For these young folks to just go to church and want to participate in a church service, and for this to happen to where where that person barricaded the doors and started randomly shooting at children, it tells you that we may be at the end of times. I hope not, but it is biblical that we have raised an entire generation of the children of the corn. And us as elders need to look at and see what mistakes we've made and see if we can have corrective measures in order to institute love, liberty, and life into all mankind, and definitely our young people. Our young people are our future. Today is your present, it's your gift. And we want to help, hopefully, aid and abet into our future being something that's reachable, tangible, and not just existential. Tell me what you think. This is a Trevor Donald Experience. Manifest your truth in a positive, righteous, and God-fearing way. And we have to end this innumerable amount of gun violence, this inhumanity, this unethical and immoral spirit that is permeating across our country today. That church shooting, these school shootings, they are rising each and every year. When I went to school, high school in the 80s, you never heard of these school shootings. And now they are permeating like never before, like boiling water in a extremely hot pot. At some point, if you don't turn that oven off, that pot is going to overflow with hot water and will scald you while you're holding that pot. And that's what we're going through right now, a scalding of our spirituality and our humanity and our morality. Tell me what you think. We need to cease these shootings, these random shootings that are taking place, and we need to increase our level of humanity, love, and reach to teach each and every person, and definitely these young people, and pass the baton of being a prosperous, positive person moving forward. And there is a future for our young folks. They just have to believe it, know it, and see it. Tell me what you think. This has been the Trevor Donald Experience. See you later.